It's Judd's Hockey Show.
And it is Judd's Hockey Show. Zolgad, along with AJ Fredrickson, who is busy right now because this is also Event Line lining up your appearances that will follow on a show that if you can tell, I'm not in the greatest of mood because the Wild just lost in overtime by a final of 3-2 in a game that they had won, except for Gus Nyquist, who we've been begging on this show to be benched, and they won't bench him, and he goes offsides. Inexcusable. Absolutely can't happen, but he does. It cost them a very late goal that would have won the game, and instead it goes to OT, and they lose a ton to get to. Philip Gustafsson, I thought, brilliant through 2 periods of play, but then was taken out for the second time this season. The first came in the Four Nations tournament with Sweden because of an illness, which I find to be very, very odd. I'm not saying he's not sick. I'm not saying something's not wrong. I'm saying it's odd, the timing. Both came in high-pressure games. Anyway, your appearances are going to be sponsored by our friends at Padregs. That's right. Padregs, why do I like them so much? You know why? Because I'm a beer guy, okay? I'm not a guy that likes these different drinks, these seltzers that has a ton of people in a back room coming up with creative ways to make different drinks. If that's your bag, that's fine. But what I love is I love beer. And Padregs, absolutely fantastic beer. I've been talking about the Red Chimney now for quite some time. Recently featured in my old paper, the Star Tribune, as a beer to try this summer. I also want to encourage you for the summer to give Paddy's Premium Irish Lager a try. It is the perfect beer for a day on the pontoon. Just a really light beer. So if you don't want too much, certainly this beer, Paddy's Premium, fantastic. Check out Padregs, located in the old Land O'Nod factory at the corner of Broadway and Central Avenues Northeast, or get Padregs' a delicious selection of beers in your local liquor store or at the bar. All right, Wild, as I said, drops this game 3-2. It looks like we're getting a ton of comments. I know, AJ, you are definitely lining up some disgruntled fans to appear. Let's just get our thoughts out of the way quickly, and we'll get into more stuff as we go. But this was a game that I thought was an odd game because it like ebbed and flowed. At times, the Wild looked fantastic. At times, they looked incompetent. And the Golden Knights, the same exact thing. A very even game. But it's a game that you had won. Ryan Hartman scored at the 18:45 mark. He did not kick the puck in. That was a good goal. And Gus Nyquist, in his haste to, I don't know, do what, because the only thing that's important there is you stay on side. If nothing else, let's say that Hartman doesn't score. You stay on side to create a play late in that game. You make sure that you're on side. And Gus Nyquist obtained late in the season for a second-round pick for the second time. And by the way, the first time with the Wild, he played pretty well in the playoffs. In fact, he played very well. But he has done nothing other than be pretty good on the penalty kill since he got here. And he makes a foolish, sort of selfish because it's so destructive play. And while we have the review on the potential kicking motion on Hartman, which, by the way, is triggered by the league. So the officials, that's not triggered by Bruce Cassidy and the Golden Knights. But it gives the Golden Knights all the time in the world to look at their iPads and realize that number 41 has somehow lost track of his awareness on the ice. It wipes out that goal. We go to OT, and you got the feeling that once OT began, the Wild unfortunately didn't have a chance because they went through huge periods of this game without shots, and that was another one where it looked like they couldn't get something going. Vegas did. Marc-Andre Fleury, who basically faced what did he face in the third period there? I've got this. He faced 3 shots in the third period when he came in relief of Gus. Well, the Golden Knights got some good chances in OT, and Brett Howden, his third goal of the playoffs, off a really nice pass by Tanner Pearson. And oh, by the way, who was on the ice defensively for this? Bogosian and Johnny Merrill. So there you have it. This was a huge game. This was the type of game that if you are a competent team, Gus Nyquist, you win the game. This was another in a long line of hard-to-swallow Wild playoff defeats. And if I sound like I'm disappointed and pretty upset, I am, because this was a ridiculous loss. You had this game won.
Judd, I'm pissed. Like the third period was beautiful by them. Like they came out down a goal, needing to find something, and they did. They came out with a spark, and they, for the most part, like the first 8 to 10 minutes, I felt like dominated the Vegas Golden Knights in just a game that like it felt like it was Vegas's to lose. Like they kind of went out there the first 2 periods. There was a good back and forth in the first, but then Vegas, I felt like, had this game in a stranglehold most of the way. You get to the late third, and the Wild just didn't have the word quit in them. They didn't know what that meant. And then a great effort. Like as much as I think a couple weeks ago, maybe we were on his case, Ryan Hartman, a great individual effort by him with the game tied, under 2 minutes left to just drive in. You have to be on sides there. You have to stay on sides. Like this is not, and I'm seeing people like, this is not bantams. This is not high school. This is not the juniors. This is not beer league on a Tuesday night at the Schwann's rink, or like
high school. You should be on side there. It's ridiculous. But the whole thing was
ridiculous.
I mean, the Boldy goal in the third was that's all-star Matt. Unbelievable play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he shields off the puck from Pietrangelo, who's a really good player. That's a gorgeous goal. Because Fleury had replaced Gustafsson, they basically were blocking shots left and right. Again, 3 shots on goal in the entire period. That the Wild did everything that you need to do on the road to win that game. And one guy cost them. And it was one guy. One guy cost them that win. And it's a damn shame, because that's exactly the type of thing that loses you a series. Like when we look back and say, why didn't the Wild win this series? It's been even. I wouldn't even say, I no longer really think that the Golden Knights are like the better team. I think the Golden Knights at their maximizing can be, but I mean, sometimes they handle the puck like it's a grenade. So like that third period was a textbook John Hines. You could not, if you take out the offside, you could not map out that third period as a better playoff third period. It was a textbook. And yeah, it is extremely frustrating that game ever got to OT to lose there on the Howden goal, because it shouldn't have. So yeah, and there's more to get to, but if we've got some folks, let's hear from the people.
Yeah, and people are already, I mean, credit to everybody still staying up with us. First off, it went to overtime. It's late on a weekday. So Toby here. Good morning from the UK, 6 a.m. Thanks for waking up with pain with us, Toby. But let's go to maybe the lines here. First guy in the room, and he's been waiting a while here. With us a night or two ago. Malachi, welcome into JHS Van Line.
Hi, guys. You got me?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear.
So I sent into the show that I had a hot take, and here it is. I think that if Gustav Nyquist isn't replaced by Ogren and Z Bouillon doesn't replace John Merrill, that Bill Guerin and John Hines should be fired. That's how mad I am after this game. It's a disgrace. Gustav Nyquist was horrible. Yeah. And the fact that they gave up a second-round pick for him, I mean, is this the worst trade in Wild history? That's a question for you guys to answer. But
no, the Victor Rask trade is still worse. The Victor Rask Nino trade with Carolina is still worse, but this might be the worst trade of a draft pick, because it's a second-round pick.
Yeah,
it's a terrible. The Bouillon thing at least can be a little bit discussed, I feel like, but the Nyquist thing is like, what are you people doing? Like you see this game after game after game. What do you need to see? Unless you think that he's so good on the PK. But then what amazed me is the OT starts, and who's out there on a regular basis? Gustav Nyquist. Like there's no ramifications for this. Like that's just fine. Yes, the Hansel trade was also bad. I mean, there've been some bad trades. This franchise made some bad trades before Billy, but you have every right to be mad, because there is no reason on God's green earth that the Wild's not coming back here up 3-2 instead of down. So you're right.
Yeah, thanks for letting me on the show, guys.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Malachi. It's just, we've been saying this for a while, and it's just, Judd, it feels so apparent. Like, I don't know if I would go as far as fire, because I still, like, I think they make a very good case as to like the trajectory and the road that this team is going down on. But right now in this moment, yeah, it stings, because it's just such a direct, you can see point A to point B of how we got here to that goal being disallowed. And that's now the difference between you being up 3-2 with a game coming back home, a chance to go to the second round in a series that you, me, basically every analyst counted you out of. Now it's just like they've been doing all the right things besides maybe the 5 forwards on the power play to start the game. That was not ideal, but it's just this is just so frustrating. But let's keep the frustration maybe rolling along here. Steven is going to join us here on JHS Vent Line.
Hey, Steven.
Oh, you mean Alec?
All right, this is Alec.
Alec?
Yes.
Hi, Alec.
No worry, guys. No worry. Man, that is just a dagger. Can we just fire Nyquist into the sun? Maybe buy one of Musk's rockets and just send him?
I don't want to do that. I just want him in the press box. I just want him
No,
by
I
me.
know.
I don't want physical harm. I just want him. I want him enjoying popcorn in the press box, perfectly safe and sound. He might be a great guy. I don't know him at all,
Right.
but he has been an atrocious acquisition, and he didn't like toe pick. Like, it's not like, oh, that's too bad. Something
You
bad happened.
cannot be offsides there.
There was zero effort to drag it toe, for sure.
He effed up. He
Yeah.
effed up, and then he kept playing. Like, that's
Widen
what I
the
love to know.
legs. 'Cause you're not even going to be involved in that play.
Correct.
You're the trailer. Like, you might pick up a rebound, but you're not directly involved in that play. So you have to drag that leg behind that line. It just does not work. You guys care if I go 30,000 feet here?
Do
All
it.
yours. Go ahead.
So kind of for next year, like, is the team just bad beyond like the top 6 guys on this team? Because you look when Kaprizov and Ek go down early in the year, you're top in points in the league, and then all of a sudden you just go to like basically 500. Is it just that they need much more second and third level guys here, that they're just maybe old is the best way to put it at this point on the back end? Third deep pairing.
No, they're going to get good
just
age.
slow.
Yes.
Age has a good grasp on the prospect pool. So
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. So we've been top 10 in the past 5 years. Where are they?
That's the thing. This is going to be, I think, the first year where you're really going to see like a
I hope so.
noticeable wave of it, because
Yeah.
one, you're going to have you would expect Zeev to not be like a is he not playing type of guy. Like with an off season, with getting him ramped up to an NHL season, he's going to be playing consistently. Yurachek had that super weird, what was it, a lacerated spleen late in the year.
Yeah.
He would be in the mix right now. He's expected to be healthy come around there. So that's already a very good deep pairing, 2 new deep guys adding into the mix. Then up front, Dania Yurov, he's done in Russia. He's expected to come on over here. Minnesota Wild have his rights. He is going to play, and he would expect to be a top 6 guy.
But
Liam
then,
Ogren, I bet you, also probably does factor in being another top six guy. And then it's the whole Rossi, will they, won't they, once again, because if you want to trade, then you can maybe go, I don't know. Do you want to just like really throw everything you have at like a crazy offer sheet at like Matt Nyes, or do you want to go get your Brock Besser? Do you want to go get your Brock Nelson? Like, I don't think they're going to be bad.
I'll talk to this a little bit here shortly, but like who? Because right now there's a few guys under contract, some no trade clauses. So who has to go to clear the way?
Johansson's gone for sure.
Yes,
I hope.
Nyquist, thankfully, is gone for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It sure looks like Rossi is gone. I don't see him back. I think they trade his rights because he's a restricted free agent. So, but I think he's gone. I mean, I don't advocate for him to be gone, but it certainly appears that way. I don't know what the Brazo's contract is. He might be up as
Brazo's
well.
up after this year, so
he'll be gone. Trennan should be. Actually, I would buy him out. I'd buy Trennan out.
Do you think just to maybe have that big body on the fourth line that he might be the one that survives?
I gotta get a player that's engaged more. His problem is, and they say, well, he's a playoff player. Well, I can't have 82 games of Drek, and then you decide to play. And by the way, you occasionally make really nice plays, but for the most part, your hands are stoned. So I think a lot of the bottom 6 is gone. I think there's a lot of discussions here. I do think it should improve, but I mean, there has been, again, there's been some questionable coaching here. The Rossi thing I don't get. Let's call a spade right now. The third line tonight was Gaudreau, Nyquist, and Foligno. Foligno's been marvelous. Gaudreau has worked hard, but he has not played that well. Why Marco Rossi is not playing on that line because they don't like him enough, because they trust Goudreau more. I mean, we're not talking about Messier here in 87. I don't know what they're doing, but there's a lot to change. I do like what's coming along, as AJ said, but I'm equally as frustrated by the stupidity of things that cost you tonight that shouldn't. So
Yeah, you just have to be able to get them in. That's the biggest thing.
absolutely,
So.
absolutely. All right, good stuff,
Hey,
man.
thanks, Alec.
Like the jersey.
Let's go next to Austin here. Austin, you're with us here on Ventline.
Hey, Austin.
Hey, fellas. Hope you got some coffee tonight.
Yep,
It's a late
yep,
one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Couple of thoughts. Is Billy G fall into the sunk cost fallacy here with Nyquist? I mean, I feel like I'm pretty fresh on my rules, but just because you gave up a second round pick for a guy doesn't mean you have to put him in the lineup, especially when it's gotten to this point. Other thought is, I know when it comes to offsides review, and it's easy to say this having with the dagger that we just got. I think it's gone too far. I'm wondering what your guys' thoughts are. I know they brought it into the league to kind of really fix these egregious things where it's like, oh gosh, how they missed that.
Right.
I can't remember the last time I saw one like that. Every time I'm seeing these offsides reviews and goals being called back, it's a game of inches. Just wondering what your guys' thoughts are.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it dates back to, I think it was a Blues series where somebody was woefully offside. They completely missed it. And the league's like, that's really, really bad.
Yeah.
But that being said, it frustrates me at times, but that one was so blatantly obvious that I don't mind getting that one right. Like there are some where it's bang, bang, and it's like, really? I mean, that's so close. But this one was, I am far more upset about the stupidity of the player tonight than I am the actual rule. But I know what you're saying. There have been times I've thought, let's abolish this. But I mean, dude, just straddle the line. It's all you had to do.
For sure.
Just straddle that bleeping line. And quite frankly, the linesman missed that one. Like that should have been called live.
Yeah.
Like that's a bang bang play. Unless they saw it and they thought it was so close that they allowed it to go to get it on review, which we don't know because it has to be triggered by a challenge.
So the inverse of the Brezzo from the last game.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I've thought about what you just said, but in this case, I would far more prefer to take out my frustrations on Nyquist because of the stupidity of that play. So
yeah, wholeheartedly agree. I got nothing really against the review. It's just tough sometimes to sit there and be like, oh man, because Nyquist didn't even really factor into the play.
No, which is why he has to.
Yeah, he's got to pay attention.
And that could have been a play like that. That could have been a zone entry and a setup too. Like we could have seen a goal scored with 30 seconds left after a zone entry that would have got wiped out because, of course, if you're offside and the puck does not come out, it's reviewable the whole time. So whatever he was not thinking, thanks a lot, dude, because you just cost your team a game. Nice work, Gus. Nice work. Good stuff, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Austin.
Have a good night.
Yeah, on the reviewing, I think it's got to be my stance is at least like the judgment calls. Let's get it done quick. But on something like that where it's clearly there's a line, there's a strict like, are they on, are they off? That's so egregious. You have to get that right because if you flip it the other way around, I would want them to take 5 minutes to make sure that goal gets disallowed for Vegas and the Wild have a chance to then go to overtime. Moving along here, we got John with us here on Ventline. John,
hey John.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for being on. Pretty tough loss tonight. I'm hurting a little bit. I gotta admit though, game 4 hurt a lot more than tonight did. I heard someone talking about Trennan. He missed a yawning net earlier in the game.
Yeah, he did.
I'm thinking about Spurgeon hitting the post. But I feel like our leadership, I'm so proud of our boys, but our leadership is failing us. Judd, you warned us about this, and so did AJ. We had 5 offensive guys on the power play in the first power play, and we can't do that. We've already given up a shorthanded goal. This is a recipe for disaster. And then what happens? It's we dig our heels in and we put 5 offensive players out there and we give up a shorty. Granted, we scored right away. Way to show some moxie, But still, right. And then, I don't understand Marco Rossi being on the 4th line. I mean, he scored goals in the last 2 games. And I think if I count in my head, he took like 3 85-mile-an-hour shots off his body tonight getting in front of pucks.
He limped off late third period, and I don't know. I don't think I saw him in OT, although I wouldn't swear to it because I wasn't. It didn't last long. But yeah, he blocked a shot late third period that he took a. I mean, it looked like it hurt like hell.
And he was tying up pucks on the boards against men bigger than he is. And to me, he's shown nothing but heart. But he's getting 10 minutes a game, and like you said, Gustav Nyquist is out there. I mean, show some humility. He made a mistake. Bench him. You know, we can do anything but that. You know, but on the other hand, I want to go silver linings.
Sure.
I've been around for a few of these game 4 losses, and it's over, right? We know it in our hearts. It's a done deal. And the way these guys came back tonight, and I'll even go one step further, I would not be shocked if we win game 6 at home. As a matter of fact, I expect us to do that. And then game 7 is a game 7. And, you know, you were talking about offsides earlier. I remember in 2014 when Colorado got away with a pretty egregious offsides against us, and that forced that game 7, I believe is how it went. But we still won. You know, that was one of my favorite games of all time. But this sucks. And like the hockey gods, what Kaprizov getting cross-checked 3 feet away from the boards earlier in game 4, and then he doesn't play the same the whole game. Middleton getting cross-checked in the face and Hartman getting taken down, and it leads to 2 goals, and then we're offsides tonight by 3 inches and we can't win a game. Eventually that's got to turn. It's just the law of averages. That's got to turn.
It's been 10 years.
Is this your first time here, John?
Yeah,
No.
John, you tell me when. It's been 10 years. It's been 10
I saw
years.
Andrew Burnett the game after.
I was in the building for that.
I watched it on TV, and I was a Montreal Canadiens fan for a few years because I was so mad about Minnesota moving to Dallas, and I refused to be a Dallas fan. And so Saku Koivu came back, and they were an 8 seed, and they beat Boston as 1 seed. He had cancer the whole year, and he came back and played in that playoff game. And so I fell in love with the Canadiens. But back in, you know, when Gaborik and all those guys were playing, I fell in love with Minnesota hockey again, and I've been a fan ever since. But I'm telling you, this feels different than the last few years. These guys have heart.
They certainly could win game 6.
There's a lot of heart on this team, and the leadership can't fail them. I'll be quiet after this, but I looked at the face-off drop, and I'm wondering why we have our 4th line with our 3rd line defenseman out there. To my mind, if you're going to play your roll 4 lines in the OT, you should at least do the justice of putting your 1st or 2nd defensive line with those 3 4th liners to kind of even things out. But, you know, I'm not the coach, and it's easy to make these comments from my living room watching it on TV, but I'm not giving up hope like I have in past years. I still think we have a heck of a chance to close us out. We are the better team. I believe that.
Thank you very much.
Hey, appreciate it, John. Let's keep it rolling here. We got Trey over in Sioux Falls. Welcome on to Vent Line, man.
Hey, Trey.
How's it going? You guys got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Perfect. I mean, Lord knows I could sit here and talk about Gustav Nyquist all night. I mean, that's you're taught squirts, you know, drag your foot over the line if you think you're going offsides, no matter how far away you are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing that gets me, though, is that William was sat for this game. And I know there's probably some other factors that played into it, but from the outside looking in, the only thing that I can collect from that is that it was largely due to his late high-staking penalty that was a 4-minute minor and ended up costing, you know, the Wild a goal, which put him down for, 3 or 4 minutes in the 3rd period, you know, caused a scramble at the end of the game to, you know, luckily come back and tie it. But so my question is, do you guys think Nyquist is going to be sat for, you know, his efforts tonight? I mean, something that small, or is he just going to, you know, keep going And I'll stack one on top of this too. I got another point here to make.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick here. Probably not going to hear this a lot tonight, but I think Jake Middleton has really been slacking this playoff series. I mean, especially it was pretty obvious Saturday night with his lackadaisical play, giving up the overtime goal. But I mean, watching him tonight, I was kind of more focused on him, and it just looked like he was tired, slow to the puck, making lazy plays, reaching, just not good playoff hockey. So, I mean, I'll let you guys discuss it, but
yeah, no, he does not look right. Like something looks off. I actually thought tonight Faber was fantastic. I thought that Spurgeon blocked some shots, and he's positionally just sound. Like he is not a sexy defenseman now as far as his play goes, but I think he's really sound. Jake looked tired, and the problem with the John Merrill Zeev thing is I understand that they have more faith in Merrill, but the reality is if you don't trust Zeev to play in OT, you probably shouldn't trust John to play in OT. But the problem is they got themselves into a box by playing Middleton too much the last OT, and he made the play where he threw the puck away. But I agree with the comment that Age just showed. I think something's wrong with Jake because he looks sort of like he looks tired, and he doesn't look nearly as ordinarily as a stout or aggressive to the puck. So I think he's playing hurt as well. But like the problem is you don't have a left defenseman now on your third pair that you trust. Like that's a major issue. That's a major problem. I do think though that like there's some John Hines stuff tonight that drives me crazy. Putting as the previous caller or guest said, putting 5 forwards out there against that Vegas team, which by the way, they don't have 2 slappies killing penalties. They have Jack Eichel and Wild Bill Carlson out there, okay? And those guys are looking like you could see, I believe it was the first 2 power plays that the Wild had. They had 5 forwards on the top power play. And you could see that the Golden Knights are like, oh, we're going to attack you. Like they purposely weren't clearing pucks because at times I'm like, why not just clear pucks? And I'm like, they're not clearing pucks because they think that they can break out against you. And if you watch that cluster bleep in front of the net on the Carlson shorthanded goal to give the Golden Knights a 1-rip lead, I mean, those guys had no idea defensively what they were doing because they're forwards. Like Boldy and Capri, Boldy was turned around like corkscrewed. So I have a major problem with the thought process that what you did to sort of get by at the end of the regular season in the playoffs against the Golden Knights, Jack Eichel and William Karlsson, is a good idea, John Hines? No, it's not. Like, I shouldn't have told you that 3 weeks ago, and then you do it, and it backfires completely. Don't tell me that's smart. So, but yes, I'm with you. Jake is struggling, and that left hand, especially the left side third defensive pairing guy, has become a major problem. So, good stuff, man.
Great. Thank you guys. One more thing, if I can add it quick. I mean,
Sure.
if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I'd like to see Zeev come back and play some Middleton. I don't think he's, for as big of a guy as he is, I don't think I've seen him using the body as much as he should. And I think we would be much better benefited by having a guy that has the skating ability that William has. I mean, we've seen it in the last 3 games. Like, kid can skate with the puck. I mean, there might be a little bit of shell shock from being in the NHL, but he's got some skating ability. And, I'd say if there's something going on with Middleton, sit him down, put William back in, give him another shot, and I think we will reap the benefits of that.
Good stuff. Thanks, man.
Hey, thanks, Trey.
Appreciate it. This goes back to what I talked about before the playoffs with you, which is I think Zeev should have been with Spurgeon the entire time.
Yeah, and I still think that should be the case.
Spurgeon is a positionally sound machine. Like he screws up, but he doesn't screw up a ton, I don't think. And it feels like he is in position to make plays. And I'm talking like the simple plays, but the important plays. Like he gets the puck out, right? Zeev Buium. I mean, you are putting Zeev Buium on a third pairing by a guy in Bogosian who is well past his prime, and it just has enough on his plate to be Zach Bogosian.
Right.
And then you're like, okay, he's going to help you. Well, no, he's not. And then then it's a fire drill when it's Merrill and Bogosian when the Golden Knights like start to swarm. So I don't know about scratching Jake. I don't know what's wrong. I'm hypothesizing. I don't know about scratching him, but I would I would put him on the third defensive pair, and I would still put Bouillon, who I think would be far more successful, with Jared Spurgeon on that pair, and I wouldn't be so hung up on this is how we've done it. I don't care how you've done it. You're trying to extend your season.
Yeah, and if he is hypothetically, if he is hurt and playing with some sort of injury that's nagging him, he's not going to be as proficient defensively. I would like to have him, if he's going to be a little more sit back type of play style, sit with the Bogosian, and that's where you elevate Bouillon up. And it's not like it's a demotion there. It's you're now having a 1A, 1B for that second pairing, and you just have to distribute those minutes better, is what
You're
I
doing
would.
what's best for the team. And
yeah.
This also to pat you on the back a bit. The whole Bogosian thing goes back to you talked about this, and I didn't, but this is where you could have made a very good case that Juracek should have been playing as the right-handed shot on the third pairing a long time ago, which you brought up, that Bogosian should have been scratched, and that you would have a better chance. One, don't forget, Juracek got hurt going back to Iowa to play.
Yes.
So he doesn't get hurt, theoretically, if he's here.
And play.
And if you had allowed him to play, could he have found his game? Because I will say this, he is a better skater right now. I mean,
and he's got the size too, so you
yeah,
can't
exactly.
even kill it. Yes.
In the playoffs, like these are the type of things. I know you're like, it's veterans. We gotta have Goudreau out there. There's no question about it. Do you really? Especially since you're a young team and you could have gotten these kids valuable experience. And if you win, awesome. But the problem now is if you lose with the geriatrics, what good does that do you?
Right.
Like, okay, good. Old guys lost. Nice work.
All right, let's keep the Ventline rolling here. Sean's been hanging out with us for a while. Sean, welcome on to Ventline.
Hey, Sean.
Hey guys. Seems like I always come on playoff time after a disappointing.
Hey, we're glad to have you any time of the year.
Nyquist. If Hines plays him again, Guerin should just come down and fire him on the spot. Just boot him off the bench. There's no reason that this guy should be in there. He did the exact same thing. I think it was in Game 3. The Wild were going for like a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-2, and he just like skated past the blue line and got himself offsides. And this one, everybody keeps saying, like maybe he should drag his toe, but he was actually going horizontal to the line. All he had to do was just keep a skate on the line. He didn't even have to drag his foot in this one. I mean, this is like, my girls are in mites right now, and I mean, like they don't even cover offsides, but just me talking to them a few minutes about this stuff, like even they get this. This is basic hockey stuff. So Nyquist, not only is he can't skate, he can't move, he can't shoot, he can barely keep a stick on the puck, but he can't even use his mind for hockey anymore. I mean, he's fully cooked. So just seeing him out there is really getting on my nerves. Merrill, hey, he was okay. He's Merrill. He's
right.
It was a pretty egregious
defender.
Stray on the OT winner, because he got up to like near the top of the zone when his guy is right out front of the net. So that's my one pick there, and like that goes back to why you should have Bouillon in the lineup over him. But that I'll wait for that discussion.
And so on the FanDuel, because I watched FanDuel, I don't have cable or anything. Ryan Carter was saying that Merrill's guy was actually up in the slot and that or up near the blue line. That's why he came off him, and that was actually Bogosian's guy. And so Merrill was caught covering two guys. That's what Ryan Carter was saying.
Well,
I don't know whose guy was
one
who,
of them. Then one of them screwed the pooch.
Yeah, someone. But I mean, either way, it was the third pairing that got in trouble, right?
Right.
Yeah. A few observations. I think Boldy and Hartman showed tonight. Boldy's actually shown this a few times in this series, that the Vegas defenders are susceptible to that power drive. They get pretty confused if you go at them hard. I hope that we're taking notes and we do that again. And then Hill, he's been shaky all series, and anytime, same with that power drive, and going straight at him, he definitely does not like it, and he gets kind of shaky. As big a guy he is, he doesn't appear to like it. So I hope that they keep that up. On the penalty kill, there's something really interesting happening, and I don't know if I'm just made this up in my head, but they made that switch late in the season where they started playing more guys, Reed, guys that actually belong in the NHL on their penalty kill. And when we made that switch, the Wild, they also started pressuring the person with the puck more, whereas before we were just collapsing down towards the goal, and then we had like the 31st worst penalty kill. So Vegas likes to get the puck over to Eichel on the side, and Eichel never shoots. Like he's one of their highest point scorers on the power play, but it's all like secondary assists. So they like to have Eichel just kind of sit with it. He'll make a pass to somebody who generally passes it to Stone for a shot or something. So when they get that puck over to Eichel, instead of pressuring Eichel, because they know he's not going to shoot, they know he's not going to do anything with it other than pass, the Wild start to collapse down like they were doing when their penalty kill was bad. And Vegas seems to be exploiting that. So I think our penalty kill's at like 60% for this series so far. It's really awful. I think, and then we killed a few penalties tonight when Foligno was like all over the place. I mean, he was pressuring every single person.
He's been a monster all series. But let's talk about the one. And appreciate the call.
Thanks, John.
Let's talk about the 1-2 though. In the first period, and the ESPN telecast pointed this out a lot. The penalty kill, where the Wild was leaving the slot wide open to collapse downward to take away the guys. I think it was Eichel at the side of the net, and Vegas didn't shoot, which was inexplicable. It was very, very weird. And so what happened there was, and I think they fixed this, I think they did adjust between periods, but they were essentially not covering the guy age in the slot, which was, and I think it was Hurdle, which was ridiculous. And then if I'm not mistaken, Pietrangelo was up high. So they basically had the entire slot. It was Spurgeon in front. So like right in front of Gus was accounted for, but there were shooting lanes, or at least shooting opportunities, that were open, and Vegas didn't take those. It was odd. And I want to say, for the most part, if I'm not mistaken, by the eye test, I want to say the Wild spent the majority of the playoffs in this round so far playing a diamond on the penalty kill. And some of it, and some of it has worked, but some of it is very, very, I don't get it. And so, the Eichel thing, God, this game now too, you do have guys throwing pucks in front of the net, hoping. Like, I don't understand how a guy like Jack Eichel with his skill set doesn't actually try and get more pucks on goal. He had one rush tonight where he was to the side of the net, and I thought he was going to shoot, and he just threw it in front, and it created mayhem, but I don't think it created a shot.
No.
And I know you're hoping it goes off a stick or a breezer or someone's ass or something like that, but the reality is there's a lot about today's game and today's philosophy I don't get, and that is one of them, which is, so you're telling me that Jack Eichel, who is a premier player in this entire league, would rather throw the puck in front and hope that like it goes off Brodeen's skate as opposed to actually aiming the puck at the goal and trying to create, if nothing else, a rebound. But that's Jack Eichel, and I'm sitting here. So
that's very fair. Let's go keep on rolling with the calls here. Harley up next on Vent Line. Harley, how you doing?
How's it going, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
You're good.
Cool. I got two things I really like from tonight. Just like the fight of the guys, to go down early and to come right back and answer. That's perfect. You love to see that. And the penalty kill was like wonderful. I thought for sure they were going to score on at least one of those power plays they got, but to keep them off the board, that's all you can ask for, really. And then Nyquist, what is going on with that? It's
a great question.
Unbelievable at this point. And then I also didn't really like why is that play challenged by Toronto, or why is that even looked at by Toronto? They should be able to look and see that wasn't kicked right away, because that just gave them all the time in the world to be like, oh, let's go look and see if it was not that just gave them all that time. Is that normal, I guess?
I might be wrong about this, but I believe it's something similar to in football, where in the final few minutes of a half or whatever, scoring plays are reviewed. I think it's similar to this, especially in the playoffs. They put more cautionary places in place so that if you lose your challenge earlier, like the Wild, terrible challenge to start the game.
Yeah,
if
definitely.
they're in that situation later, they don't have to rely on needing that because it's such a pivotal goal for the series. So that's the only reason. Once again, if it's the other way around and the Wild are getting the benefit of the doubt there, getting that review, I think the tone changes for a lot of fans. I get it's the heat of the moment, but that's just what the rules are. But yes, I agree. It probably does. And Judd texted me this during the game, which is they got an extra minute and a half to look at their iPads on the bench and be like, yeah, we're challenging that immediately.
Well, that was just so clearly not kicked in.
No, not at all.
So it just seemed like bogus, but I appreciate you guys taking the call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harley.
See you later, Harley.
Keep on rolling here with Matt on JJ's vent line. Matt, you don't have a lot of lights. Kind of
mystery,
Matt.
Listen, I'm in Pittsburgh where we've got half the city with no power. So I hope Governor Walz isn't watching, but I was watching in my Tesla tonight. So at least I had a little bit of a TV. But I mean, I would imagine it's going to be a lot of repeating yourselves over the next 2 days with Nyquist. But I mean, I do have to harp on it. I play beer league and I'm so scared of going offsides. I'll drag my foot every time just so that I'm not the guy who's the a-hole who caused a whistle when you don't know what's going to happen. Right. So I can imagine what that's like on a stage like this, where you don't even have the presence of mind to be worried about, going off sides like that. But oh well. I think Kaprizov not the best day. I think there were spurts of greatness, but not the best day. I'm wondering what you guys think. Fourth line, no bueno tonight.
Judd, I actually they're not having great games, but the problem is that with the fourth line, we're running into the same repeated now, where I don't mind their play, but the problem is they put themselves in positions to really impact and benefit the team. But two-thirds of the guys on that line don't have any skill to actually finish and make the most out of those opportunities. Luckily, they put it the past 2 games right on Rossi's stick, who does have the skill to do that. It's defensively, I've liked their forecheck. That's actually been an impacting force on this series, but it's what happens after the forecheck is up.
But let's talk about the third line.
Yeah,
forget the fourth line. What Gaudreau and Nyquist are playing with Foligno. You're literally, Marcus has been just a beast all series. I think he's been fantastic. Tonight he's everywhere again. I think he had 2 or 3 really good scoring chances. And he's playing with a traffic cone and a guy who tries really hard. What are we doing? This is where I don't understand how Rossi. Look, Hartman's played really well, and he's done a lot of good things. Bravo. So he's getting what he deserves, which is, for now, Johansson, who came back. I can't believe this, but I was happy he came back because he had played well previously, and Zuccarello. But my problem is, why is Gaudreau not with Trenin and Brazeau right now? And why is Rossi not with Foligno? And I don't even want to talk about Nyquist, but I just, John Hynes is doing some really odd things. And it's so funny because it feels like it's hockey, right? But these are my veteran guys. These are the guys I have ridden with all season long. Marco Rossi deserves to be, he scored 2 goals past 2 games before tonight. He deserves to be on that third line, if nothing else, to help Foligno. Correct me if you guys think I'm crazy, but what is Freddie Gaudreau doing that's so inspiring right now? He's a solid player. I wouldn't scratch him.
No, I don't think so. It's wild to see. And he has moments too where it's like he'll sling a puck into the middle, make a great find, but nothing this playoff series. But something that resonated with me, you said it 2 years ago, I think in the Dallas series, it seems that no matter what the situation is, a big time game, why can we never get a 7-2 win? Like the Blues, the Jets, they beat the Jets 7-2 the other night. You said it 2 years ago. Why do we never find a way to trounce a team when we need it the most? It's always a fight and it's always a crushing loss. But I'll leave you guys with that. But you said it and it never leaves my head now.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad it had that much of an impact. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
Take care. Find some light. And that should have been, and if that was going to happen, that was probably a game 4 thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, second home, you've got a chance again to take control 3-1. Like everyone's saying, well, when it's been 2-1, you fail, and it becomes, I don't know if it becomes a fulfilling prophecy. And we can go through the old thing. Well, these aren't the same players as, all those other teams. It's been 10 years now. But whatever it is, it is I didn't expect them to win by a ton tonight. But I mean, game 4 would have been, you delivered a really nice, and they've done this before, haymaker in game 3. So in game 4, wouldn't it have been nice to deliver what could have been akin to sort of a knockout punch? But they just can't do it. And the coaches change, the GMs change, the roster changes, and yet I don't know, the logo with the North Star on it and the bear or whatever the hell that is, that's the one thing that doesn't change. The playoff mentality. Just I don't know how you get it to a place where you just come out and you've got the Golden Knights down Saturday afternoon game at your barn and you just come out and throw a punch.
And it's got to be a hard punch.
Figurative hard punch.
Yeah, so let's please not do the preempted, meditated, whatever. Moving along here, Seth is going to join us now on JJ's Vent Line. Seth, what's going on, man?
Hey, Seth.
I'm disgusted. I am devastated.
Mm-hmm.
I was 14 years old when Nino Niederreiter scored that Game 7 OT winner. I will be 25 in 3 weeks. This is unacceptable. More than the Nyquist thing, which in my opinion, I don't know if you guys have seen that, the 100 men versus 1 gorilla thing that's going on the internet. Yes. We should go get the 100 guys and the gorilla and go on the Minnesota Wild's plane right now and pull Gus Nyquist off of it. That's just my opinion, but whatever.
Wow.
The goals that the Golden Knights score are horrible. This is the second time that what's his name? The Bus has allowed a 5-hole goal from above the face-off circle, which I understand you're getting screened. I understand, but I don't see that happening with any of the other goalies right now in the playoffs. Now, other goalies are giving up bad goals, but it's frustrating. We have 3 guys on Jack Eichel, and William Karlsson is butt naked walking down Main Street. And these guys have been playing hockey since the time that they could walk. Even if you're not a defenseman, even if you have 5 offensemen, you should just be able to kind of just comprehend the play that's going on.
They had no
and
idea.
Then we already had 1 butt naked guy in the first period. That's not good enough. Let's wait for overtime and let's leave. Well, who was it? Brett Howden?
Brett Howden, 3rd goal of the series.
No clothes on. Pads already off. Just sitting in front of the net. And it's just devastating. It's just like, I don't know. And what I was gonna ask was, I haven't liked Zeev's play. I've seen like bursts of like maybe he could be good, but
sure.
When you talk about like a defenseman that can skate, I think of like Lane Hudson, Cale Makar, and he doesn't seem to be on that level. But Declan Chisholm is somebody that I've seen in the Wild that I've been impressed with the way that he moves the puck, with the way that he moves his feet, and the way that he skates. I don't know how much of a defensive liability he is, but I haven't seen him play in maybe a month or 2 months. So I was just wondering if you guys have any idea what's going on with him, or if you'd be interested in seeing him in the lineup.
So that's one where he plays pretty well with Spurgeon. They tried to put him on the 3rd pairing with Bogosian, if you recall, at the Garden against the Rangers, and it was an abject disaster. See, this is the thing is they keep putting these guys like Zeev or Chisholm at times with Bogosian, thinking, well, he's with a veteran. Bogosian, again, I'll say it, he has to worry about himself. He's not good enough to worry about his defense partner. So I honestly think that you would be more impressed by Zeev than Declan Chisholm if you put him with Spurgeon. And yeah, you haven't seen, I mean, William just got here, so there's not a big sample size, but I do think that he has a skill set that's going to exceed Chisholm's, but nobody is going to succeed if you put them with Bogosian. So it's not going to work. Like they keep forcing this. It's what's the cliche? A square peg into a round hole. They keep forcing this. Like you're going to play with Bogosian. It's like he's going to stabilize you. He doesn't have the ability to. So John Hines. I mean, again, I'll say it. John Hines is confusing me with some moves here. John Hines has been. I don't understand that. I don't understand the thought process there. You need to take Middleton off of the Spurgeon pairing and put whomever you're going to use. I prefer it not to be Merrill, but if it's going to be Declan Chisholm or it's going to be Zibuya, he needs to be with Spurgeon. And then you need to put a defenseman with a little bit more experience, like Middleton, with Bogosian.
Yeah. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like your video
frozen, but I can hear you.
my computer's frozen for some reason. And I was just wondering if you guys remember that play where it was like a cross ice pass where where it was going to Kaprizov and he had a wide open net, but Marco Rossi reached out his stick and kind of fell over when like in the middle. This was sometime in the third period. I don't know. It was kind of a quick play.
Sure.
But
okay.
That just really broke my heart because if that went to Kaprizov, I mean, we've seen him do that in overtime so many times where it's just wide open. But thank you again, guys. I'm devastated. We'll do this in
keep your chin up, man. Keep your chin up. We got a game 6 on Thursday night. It's a 6:30 start, so you don't have to stay up till 1 a.m. Keep your chin up until it's done.
It's 2 a.m. here. All right, you guys have a good one.
Man, take care.
All right, thanks, Seth.
Thanks for the call.
Next here looks like let's go Odin Father 1025. I know he was with us the other night and he's back again for more.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah. So my main thing is pretty much the John Hines or Bill Guerin, I don't know, the line combinations have just been really bugging me. It's like that second line always seems to get caught in their own end and then can't do anything, can't get out of the zone, whatever. But it just seems to be a lot of sticking with the players that are veterans, not giving young guys a chance. And like even Trennan has shown the effort at least to maybe be moved up for a shift or two just to spark something. But yeah, I don't know. Like, my main thing is just I don't know what he really is doing. He's kind of showing why he hasn't won really a playoff series yet, but that's all I really got.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Hey, thanks.
Appreciate it. I think Trennan is perfectly placed where Trennan is. I do not want to move him up. I don't want to promote him. It's the Peter principle. What's the old saying? The glass ceiling that you break through. I want Trennan. I think Trennan has established that he has a playoff role on the fourth line. I just want Gaudreau as his center instead of a guy who's got some offensive talent. But now, to go back to the block shot late in the third period from Rossi, I don't know if he's hurt or not. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Gustafsson left sick, which I was trying to find an update on Twitter.
I haven't heard anything yet.
But I would guess he's going to play. Again, I wonder what the sickness is.
Yeah.
But let's just guess he's going to play in game 6. Rossi blocked a shot and left. I don't know. I don't remember him coming back. And Dorofeev or however the hell the announcers want to pronounce his name, but he's a key player for the Golden Knights. They said he was not on the bench to start the OT. So if he's out for game 6, that's a pretty big loss. It's not Eichel, it's not Stone, but it's big.
Hey, he contributes enough on a night-to-night basis.
Oh, he's important.
I would notice if he's not on the ice.
Absolutely. Before we get to our final batch of callers, I want to talk to you about my friends at Neos Elite Performance. If you are active or looking to get an edge in life, the experts here, again, Neos Elite Performance can help you. If chronic pain is holding you back, Neos Elite brings cutting-edge regenerative medicine and cellular IV therapy that's designed to get you going again, moving again without invasive procedures. This is white glove service delivered to your home. You don't go to the doctor's office. You don't go to the hospital. Eric and his team come to you. If knee or back pain is slowing you down, stop the suffering. Neos Elite's therapies are designed to reduce pain, restore function, and get you back to doing what you love. And have we got an offer for you right now? Just when you talk to them, reference our flagship show, Purple Daily, and get $500 off a cellular IV therapy treatment. No surgery, no downtime, just results. Schedule at neoselite.com, Neos Elite.com. Check them out. Who's next?
All right. Next, we got CJ, who, like me, might be macking on a little late night snack here after we wrap up. But CJ, how we doing, man?
I'd like to see it.
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys?
Doing well, doing well. We lost your video. We still there. We go.
There we go.
What do you think about the game? How you handling this loss?
Not great, to be honest with you. I think it was actually 1 minute left in the game, a minute and a half left in the game. They score. That's brutal. Nyquist offsides, not great. The whole series he's been a bum, to be quite honest with you.
He's offered very little.
Yeah, no. And also another thing with the defense, I'd rather have Chisholm in than Merrill. I would rather have Juracek in on that last the third pairing, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Except he's injured.
The problem now, his spleen got lacerated playing for Iowa after he had just basically chilled here for how long? 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. And he looked great while he was here, so I like the trade there.
I do.
And another thing is Trennan. Normally not. He puts a horrible effort in. Every maybe 5 games he looks decent as a fourth line player. That's not great. But now that he's the playoffs here, he's been looking great. But to be quite honest, I'm not liking his play right now for this game.
Mm-hmm.
He's been physical and everything, and also having Rossi there, I don't like that either on the fourth line.
Right, he should be up.
Yeah, he's got to move up soon.
Yeah.
No.
And I don't know how I feel about that. I'd rather have somebody else there in place. Because we have Joel Eriksson on the first line. Hartman's been looking good on the second line. But Hartman's been, he's been a heart and soul player this whole series, right? Mm-hmm. Get him on the third line or the fourth line, and he can bring the same energy that Rossi would be able to do. Mm-hmm. Or bring up Ogren, because we obviously want a little bit of offensive flair on that fourth line.
Yep.
But I don't think they're bringing it, especially with Rossi there. He's not a fourth line type of player. I would really like to keep him. Like you said, Judd, I don't think the way it's looking right now, I don't know if we're going to keep him, but I would really like to.
Yep.
But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Appreciate it.
Thanks, DJ.
Yep. On Ogren, I think this. So he actually traveled. He got taken out of the group of Black Aces, which is the minor league guys that call up when the season is done and skate individually, or I should say as a group away from the team. Ogren got put with the normal roster and actually traveled for this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw it out there. I wouldn't be shocked if he plays in game 6. I wouldn't be absolutely shocked. I think there could be something to be said. Now, do they trust him? Well, that's the question. But the thing is, do you trust Nyquist now? You shouldn't. And
No.
Look, if Zibulium was scratched in part because he took a needless, careless, high sticking penalty, and then you didn't trust him to play in OT, why the hell do you trust Nyquist? I saw an interesting comment. I didn't pick up on this, but it's very possible. Somebody said that they saw that there was a Eriksson Ek shift late in the game in which it was a short shift. Now, keep in mind, he went down the tunnel at the end of game 4. He blocked a shot in the third period, I believe, of game 4. Ek did. Went down the tunnel, didn't practice the next day. It was maintenance, which means you're hurting. And so keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on Rossi. I think something's up, as we talked about with Jake Middleton. And what have you felt about the last 2 games of Kaprizov? Because he did take, was it from Barbashev that he took a pretty heavy hit?
Yes, it was, because it was a Russian on Russian. And I thought that he, the first couple of games, I thought he definitely, you could see the trajectory going up for his performance level. Yes. But yeah, it has kind of stagnated.
Yeah,
he's reached the cap.
Goal was
I
nice.
think the goal was fantastic, and that was vintage Kirill. But I think we've reached the cap for what you're going to get out of him for this series and anything beyond that. I don't think you can probably expect him to get back to 100%. If he's sitting at 85, 90% right now, that's what you're going to have him at. And it's only going to get worse as the playoffs draw on if they get out of the first round.
Yeah. And in the third period, it did not feel like they were pulling back at all. Because I swear to God, John Hines double and triple shifted him at times there. So the playing time certainly didn't diminish. But it's funny because that hit from Barbashev has been mentioned a few times. And I will say this, I felt that games 4 and 5 were easily his worst games, despite the fact he scored a goal. Like those, you're right, those first 2 games, he was absolutely outstanding. It feels like that has peeled back a bit. And I guess my question is he starting to tire out again because he clearly didn't play a lot until the very end of the season, or is he banged up again, which is entirely possible?
And I think before we get to Tommy here next on Ventline, I think part of it also too is similar to how the Wild have really been swallowing up the space and the time for Mark Stone and Jack Eichel, at least up until tonight. Vegas has now been altering their defensive stuff and saying we need to hone in on 2 guys, 12 and 97. Yeah. We'll make the rest of their lineup step up if they want to win these games, but 97 and 12 are who we need to focus in on. I think that's also key of it, because if Kirill's not at his absolute best, he's not going to be able to create as much space. He's a very smooth and strong skater, but he's not the quickest, the fleetest of foot when he's like fully healthy. So now that he is, you never know what he's at officially. It's probably making that an even harder task than it is normally, especially when you're keyed in for now going on 6 games in a row coming up on Thursday. Moving along here, Tommy, welcome into Ventline, man.
How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Yeah, on the Wild, they put a damper on that. But so I have some notes that I'm going to go through. Can you guys still see me? I'm on my notes on my iPhone.
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay. So here, let's see if can you still see me when I'm doing this?
Yeah, we got you.
Sweet. All right. Perfect. So Minnesota luck is my first note. A double challenge on a goal is wild. That's Minnesota luck. I'm just gonna say that because that is something that I haven't seen in a while. And with them challenging and then challenging again, obviously one was from the NHL and then one was from Vegas. That was tough, but definitely heart wrenching, and it goes along with the Game 5 trend of the Minnesota Wild, because that was a big game for us. And then the next one is Boldy has definitely stepped up. I haven't seen that much improvement in Boldy all year. I love Boldy, but this playoff Boldy is a different Boldy than I've ever seen, because he's stepping up. It's crazy. And if he keeps this trajectory of how he's playing now, it's going to be awesome. And so Boldy's definitely been a huge light in this whole entire deal with the playoffs and the Wild. And so the next one I have is Rossi I love Rossi. I'm definitely a Rossi stan when it comes down to it. And so I'm going to definitely stick with my guy, but it's weird how they treat a guy that scored the third most goals on the team. I don't like it. I'm not a huge fan of this at all. And I think with like Urov coming and all of these other guys that are supposed to be goal scorers, I'm hoping that it doesn't shine a light for them when it comes down to signing for the Minnesota Wild. I think that these guys should be boosted up, and sometimes putting them on the 4th line in the playoffs, I'm not a huge fan of. My next note is rookies, and that would actually be along the same lines of that. Bogo can't stabilize Bogo, and so like putting Bogo is a great dude. He's an older veteran in this game, but I wouldn't trust him to stabilize himself because he's still working his magic. But stabilizing a rookie isn't really what I'm going for on that. And then the next one is, I think Mitzi is hurt, so Middleton. I think that after that big hit, I think that he's been a little bit off, because honestly, Middleton looked great this year for most of the year, and he was taking huge strides with the goals and the stepping up in the zone and clutch. And after that hit, it seems like he took a step back, and so I think Midsy's actually hurt. My next one would be Billy G this year. I like Billy. I've been an advocate of Billy G this whole time. But trading Kutsudinov and what's
Lauko.
his name? Lauko for the dude from Boston is wild, in my opinion. I really like Kutsudinov, and I don't know how much give back there is on that one. I guess there is some cap, you know, mathematics in that, but I'm not a huge fan of that trade. And then also like the Trenyon trade, I'm not a huge fan of. And so this has been the biggest step back for Billy G, I think, out of the years that we've had him for me. And then the next one would be Hartsey looks really good in the playoffs. Hartsey pisses me off, but Hartman looked really good today, and he's looked good throughout this whole series. Huge step up during this, and that's actually huge for the Wild because of the fact that we need playoff players, and he's been super good. Huge surprise in this whole deal. And then the last thing is goaltender interference. I've been playing hockey since I was 3 years old. I still don't understand goaltender interference.
They don't know what it is either. Don't
Nobody
worry
knows.
about it.
It's provocative.
But that was a terrible challenge. That was an awful challenge. Just want to, as AJ said, that was a ridiculous challenge. You cannot challenge that. You can't go shorthanded for that. There was no way that they were going to win that.
It was wild. And on top of that too, like, but I think that we've been called in the past of like somebody having to skate in the goal crease. And it's like, okay, you know, at the same time it's I don't know. Goaltender interference still escapes me to this day. I don't know. But that's all the notes I had jotted down.
Man.
So
thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you so much, you guys. You guys are awesome. I've been waiting to join this for a long time, and I joined Purple Daily once. I think JJ McCarthy is going to be the curse breaker for all of the Minnesota sports because of his trend, right?
And then the flood of championships. Is
there we go. That's when they're all going to start.
Win a World Series. Wild's going to win a cup. Thanks, man.
5-year plan, baby. 5-year plan.
All right.
Yeah, that challenge, Judd, was just terrible because at that stage of the game, unless somebody has Gustafsson in like a headlock,
correct,
punching him in his gut repeatedly, there's no reason. Unless it's clear as day, you can't take that risk.
It was actually a great screen.
It was, and that's the thing.
Faber didn't help.
It felt like they almost panicked into we should, yeah, I guess we kind of have to.
But once you went back and watched it once, you're like, they're not there. There is no way that they're going to take that goal off the board. And then you give, and they didn't score fortunately for the Wild, but you give the Golden Knights, you gift them a power play immediately. I mean, that was just ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, we've got 3 more in the bullpen here. Going up next, Nick has been waiting his butt off here. So welcome on to Vent Line, Nick. How are we, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing well.
Judd, I got my little list here.
Handwritten. You know what? See? I'm proud of you. See, I got mine. You've got yours. Let's hear.
I left mine.
Let's hear them.
First of all, bench Ghost and Merrill, maybe even Middleton.
Yep.
He is obviously hurt. There's something going on there.
Yep.
He's hurting the team way more. Secondly, Brazeau might be the least skilled player of all time on this franchise. I despise Brazeau.
Okay. Hey, yeah, I don't.
All right, I like it.
There is no skill
on the challenge thing. I think Vegas should have to send the challenge prior to the kick review, so they don't get the extra minute and a half, 2 minutes to review it
on
their iPad. I don't know if they could even do that. And then the last thing is, this is going to be our 3rd straight playoff appearance, losing or having a 2-1 lead and losing in 6. Should we lose on Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just getting obnoxious.
Question for you though: do you guys think that how long do you think it took them, because the kicking review happens, right? How long, like, because you've got people that immediately look for offsides. How long do we think it took them? And I know they had extra time, but it couldn't have taken that long, right? To say that's offsides.
Oh, I'm sure it was instant, but also
like
just extra minute and a half. It gives them like 4 more views.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Well,
yeah, I think it's more of the uncertainty. I think at that stage of the game, you probably just take the chance regardless, even if you think it's like pixels overlapping. But I do actually, Nick. I like your thought a lot where you give them like the predetermined time, and then they say, you know what? Yeah, if this league challenge doesn't get overturning the goal,
you'll get more time.
Then yeah, we're going to probably submit ours regardless. I think that's actually a good idea. But hey, Nick,
and then one more thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it might take the worst among us, being the Timberwolves, to finally break the curse for everyone else to finally get over the hump.
Of all the guys, and this town actually sports-wise with the 4 men's teams has some star power. Ant might be the guy.
I hope so.
Because Justin Jefferson can't control a football game. And I don't know that Kirill Kaprizov can do enough to do. So Ant might be the guy that doesn't care what state he's playing in, and finally can actually stomp out the curse because he's so defiant about it. So
and the Twins guys are too hurt. So
well, yeah, Buxton, it's past. I like him, but it's past. It's past time too.
All right, thanks guys.
All right, have a good night.
Thanks, Nick.
Or good morning.
Steven staying up late with us here on a what is it now? Wednesday morning.
It's early Wednesday morning. What's up, Steven?
We can do it, gents.
Got to.
I got to tell you, I am going to finish on a good positive note here. Thanks for doing the stunt line and stuff. It is pretty cool. So it's
thanks for listening.
Awesome. I do want to start out with. Do you think Barry Trotz, the general manager of the Nashville Predators, is smiling like a Cheshire cat after this trade and seeing Mr. Nyquist offside? He might have even got an extension.
That's and you know that second round pick is going to turn out to be a player, right? It's going to turn out to be a guy who's a contributor to the Predators, probably scoring goals at the X against the Wild for years to come.
Game winner. I hope this game and that offsides call is not what we're going to remember if we don't move on. This was a game that, let's face it, we struggled in the first two periods. We honestly did. Even our defensemen did not play well in those first two periods. Even Brodin, I was a little disappointed with too. We haven't mentioned him. I thought he struggled, and absolutely, Merrill, brutal. And Middleton, I agree with you guys. You can kind of tell there's something isn't quite right because he's not cleaning up his checks and stuff like that. But the positive thing is, I will say, the Wild, I think they got Vegas figured out a little bit, and you can tell obviously on the power play penalty kill. But did you notice on the after the first power play, they moved Spurgeon back to the special teams to get a defenseman out there? I don't know why they didn't start him and leave him out there. Just my opinion.
Oh, I agree completely. Yeah, and it for sure was the third one where Spurgeon was out there on the power play, because that was, you knew that was a potential problem. Again, if the PK for the Golden Knights had a couple of third or fourth line guys, I'd be like, okay, it's a risk, but it probably is not going to bite you in the butt. But when it's William Karlsson and Jack Eichel, you knew what they were going to do. And that was like sharks in the water. They were going to take the puck, and they were not going to clear it. They were going to actually attack, which they did. But yeah, I agree with your points. I do think this series is, and this will probably ring hollow right now, but I do think the series is more competitive than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the Wild's getting waxed, or we're coming away saying they had no chance. Basically every game has been extremely competitive, which is what I think makes a night like tonight's loss more frustrating, because you're right there and you actually have a chance to win, or on, game 4, right? You got a chance to win. I think what makes it more frustrating is you can sort of see it. Vegas isn't clearly the superior team, which I thought they might be, and they still can't win. And, like tonight, it's stupid mistakes. It's one in particular, stupid mistake. But the shorthanded goal, think about this. It's my opinion that if you had a defenseman out there, they don't score.
Bingo.
And then let's say you score on the power play. Well, now you're up one rip in a game that ended 3-2. So it's those type of mistakes, and those are things in playoffs that kill you, just kill you.
Because if you
sorry, AJ, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just going to say quick, because if you have a defenseman back there, Boldy's not the last man back, and he knows a defenseman has the instinct, okay, I have to take this pass and commit there because I have a really strong back check, and I think it was Eck potentially. But instead they both shuffle over, and that leaves a wide open winger for Bill Karlsson to pot one in the back of the net shorthanded. So if you have if you have a Spurgeon, a Brodin, literally anybody that's a defenseman, they have that knowledge. Okay, I know how to play this, and that's just, then it's a wrap. And going back to your point too, Steven, which is what's this series going to be remembered on if they lose on Thursday? I think the thing is what Judd was saying. This series ended up being a lot more competitive than I think a lot of people expected, but also they had chances to swing this thing the other way. I think they had a lot of good chances to put this in a 3-1 series lead. I mean, they blew a third period lead the other night. That would have put them up 3-1 in the series. Then they go Vegas, and now it's like, okay, now you're up 3-2 going back home for game 6. Then it's, I mean, they could still very much take that game 6, force a game 7, and who knows where this thing goes. But I would say that one moment of an offsides is going to be like it'll be there. It's going to sting. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I don't think it's the most prominent defining moment of this playoff series.
I really believe, how this series is playing out. And I agree with you, Judd, that one thing about the Wilds game that I think they frustrate Vegas. Vegas is a up and down north and south team. And I think they get frustrated. We're used to these 3-2, 2-1 games. And this isn't Vegas' style. They like to jump out on you right away, get a lead, and play a lot looser. And I like I said, I think this is really a way better matchup and closer than the pundits think or whatever. And I do got one question, and let's put it this way. I don't want to go back to this Nyquist thing because I do want to finish positive. But when PK Subban, a former player, on the intermission report, they normally don't specifically call out, mistakes. There's normally praises for good plays, but he specifically called out Nyquist on that offside and went after him pretty hard, in my opinion. But my question is, what did they see in Nyquist why they made the trade? And I think that's I'm trying to figure out why. Yeah, he scored, I think, 70 points last year, whatever. But what was the reason for the trade? What did they see in Nyquist why they made the trade, I guess is my question.
Good stuff, man. Thank you very much. I think what they saw was that 2 years ago when they got him, I think it was from the Red Wings at the time, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right. Yeah.
That he was a contributor. And I think that they liked him. They thought that there were enough guys that were left here that he would fit back seamlessly into the room. But the statistics from Nashville this season told a different story. And I think the Wild thought, the Predators have been a mess. He'll be fine here. But he's just, I hate to say it sounds so mean, he's useless. Like, he's just been useless. But he was a contributor. I think he had 4 goals in the playoff series against the Stars. He had a really good series.
Yeah.
And I think Billy saw him then and thought, hey, it'll be essentially the same guy. He's an ideal third line type of guy. We need some goal scoring punch. But, previous to tonight, I said this. If it was a 6th round pick, I would just say, okay. But now tonight, it's like, you don't want him on your roster. I mean, that's such a monumental screw up. But a 2nd round pick, inexcusable. And, the 2 guys that just stick out to me like a sore thumb are the deadline acquisition of Gus and your free agent investment in Trennan for your contract, which is, I think it's ridiculous. So those are the 2 things that I just keep coming back to. The Trennan contract to me feels a lot like when the Twins had some extra cash and said, we haven't signed a guy. Let's go sign Ricky Nolasco because he's got some good statistics with the Dodgers or the Marlins.
Right.
And he was just a complete useless pitcher. That to me feels like Trennan. It's like, but he's a playoff player. Well, okay, first of all, if you're a playoff player and you don't play well in 2025 for 82 games, and then every once in a while he shows some skill, but it's not sustainable. And I'm sorry. If Yakov Trenin was on a 1-year contract on the 4th line, I'd probably say, okay, yeah, I get it. He'll be gone. You tried, but you signed him to a 4-year contract like he's an actual contributor, and I don't see that. Sorry.
Well, he's like a food truck burger. You could get any average burger anywhere for like $2-3. They go to some brewery, they walk up to the food truck and it's like, yeah, give me a cheeseburger. And they're like, sweet, $18. And then you want chips? Do you want a drink? That's giving me an extra 20. Like, what you're paying for. The Wild just paid extra for whatever reason.
They thought that he would provide a big physical presence.
Game high 7 hits tonight.
Yeah, and he is physical in the playoffs, but first of all, he didn't do jack squat in the regular season, and second of all, again, he is at most you sign him to a 2-year contract. The 4-year contract offends me. It offends my senses. All right, let's end with the last person.
That's right.
If we can, and then
Our closer, our Mariano
going to
Rivera
bed.
here to shut down the night.
Yeah.
Derek, welcome on the vent line.
Here we go. All right. So I believe I spoke with AJ and Judd here after game 3. Is that right?
You did.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we had a analogy here. I believe it was AJ was talking about Nyquist, right? With the lawnmower.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're stuck with him now.
You're stuck with him now. Okay. So we saw this game unfold. I was watching after the first intermission. We had PK Subban. I mean, these aren't just some guys, right? These are so PK Subban, he exposed Nyquist as well. We did some research with my family. 14 years Nyquist has been in the league, right?
It's been quite a while. That sounds
so it's been 14 years.
Yeah.
After that game 3, he also got exposed by blowing a tire, right? We talked about that.
Yes.
After this game, let's just say he blew a tire, and then not only did that, but the blade of that lawnmower hit Hartman in the leg and cut it off. That's what I'm going to put that analogy towards. Yeah, it did. We bought a used lawnmower. Yeah. That's my mom in the background. So now I'm going to put it on Hines and Bill Guerin, right?
Okay.
People were calling for Bill and Hines during this episode, saying, their jobs and whatnot. That's not what I'm doing, because Billy G has done some great things for this team. I call it the Parisi purgatory contract, right? With Bill Guerin, his hands being tied. We all know about that. So I will give Bill credit for us getting this far. It's kind of like icing on the cake. But we've all seen the movie Moneyball, right? There's got to be some point in this series where Billy G's got to go into that office and say, you know what? I screwed up. Get on the podium. We don't care as fans. If anything, we would rather have Billy G or John Hines get on that podium and say, you know what? We screwed up. This was not worth it. But this is not working. We're going to make a move, because otherwise the fans and the league, because he's been exposed on national television not once but twice so far, and it's absolutely embarrassing. That's why fans are so upset right now. But you have to get on that podium, confess that you screwed up, and make a change. Otherwise, you will be remembered as this absolutely pathetic playoff loss. People talking about dragging the foot. No, he was not the I mean, I didn't play hockey, but he's been in the league for 14 years. PK Subban saw that on the intermission before overtime and made a point to national television. If you are John Hines or Billy Guerin, that should be embarrassing, because that's what causes jobs to get fired in this league.
Absolutely. Yep.
I mean, I'm not wrong on that. And we talked about this lawnmower comparison, but this lawnmower is absolutely blowing up on national television. That's embarrassing. You're going to lose your job. Like, you need to make a change.
Bought a lawnmower without a mower.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye.
Derek.
See ya.
Thanks, Derek.
Yeah, it's it was bad. It's a bad loss.
It's a bad loss.
It's a bad loss, and it's too bad. And it's too bad because this series, if the Wild does not come back and win it, and there's no reason to believe with their history that they will, that they were in a position to take control on Saturday. They were in a great position to win tonight on the road and come back and try to close things out. Alas, it did not happen. We appreciate you staying up late with us. We're actually going to have another episode of Judd's Hockey Show tomorrow with our friend Jesse Pierce that we will record just after noon. So look for that as well. And then, of course, we'll be back after the game on Thursday. Don't forget, I believe it's a 6:30 start, if I'm not mistaken. And it
so
will
like
not,
6:52.
No, there's no game before it. It will start on time.
Oh my!
Those games start late because they're being pushed back by these 6:30 starts.
How much you want to bet that game has no chance of going to overtime? Like
yeah, well, hopefully it's 7-0 Wild, because they never win like that in the playoffs.
There we go.
Thanks again. He's AJ. I'm Judd. We'll see you later.